Welcome to the Get Safe Guardian Perspective podcast, where we sit down with first responders, military veterans, entrepreneurs, and anyone that has an eye towards safeguarding their space. Today, we have the founder of StreamKits, Sarkis Abrahameen. I butchered that, and I'm going to let him tear me up when he comes back, when he comes in. But StreamKits is an all-in-one production bundle that allows anyone with a goal, an idea, or desire to create to do so with the high-end equipment at an economic cost. StreamKits is a professional streaming and content technology simplified. Now, before I bring him in, I need to mention that today's episode is sponsored by GetSafe. Through communication and connection, we can achieve safety. We are the one-stop shop for violence prevention, personal safety, and de-escalation, regardless of the industry. When our guests are community or workplace oriented, we showcase our workplace safety course. So depending on your needs, you have options. With our 1, 2, or 4-hour training modules, your employees can walk away from our safety course feeling prepared and equipped to manage crisis in the workplace. Whether it's violence prevention, customer service, or de-escalation, we have you covered. Send us an email at info@getsafeusa.com or contact us through our website at GetSafeUSA or GetSafeUniversity.com, which is currently on the screen. Now, without further ado, Sarkis, please don't beat me up too bad for
dude, like
butchering
we
your last
practiced
name.
it like 7,
I know
8
we did,
times.
and I'm an idiot,
Oh,
so I
good.
apologize. Hi, it's been a long day. Like yesterday was my kid's birthday, and
Nice.
it was just nonstop from the moment everybody woke up until the three of us fell asleep on the couch watching Avengers
What
last
time
night.
are you
So,
like usually starting at in the morning? Like if was it a weekend yesterday? No, we're midweek,
no,
right?
it's just middle of the day, middle of the
Yeah.
week. So normally we have two rescue dogs that like to get up at 6:30 in the morning. So I'm up at generally 6:30, feed them, get the coffee going, and then because birthdays are like Christmas, he hopped up and he was ready to go. Now my wife is who's an incredible mother, did the this
Mhm.
or that, where she had everything planned where you get to pick one of two cards, and whatever the card you pick is what we're doing. So there was breakfast, then it was either you get a gift or you get 11 spankings, like for
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
And then it was an activity, and then it was the gift thing again, then it was lunch, then it was the gift thing again, then it was an activity, and it was just all day long until we ended up at the movie theater. And then last night we came home and we all tried to watch Avengers Endgame, and
It's a long day.
I woke up at 12:30 and everybody was asleep on the couch. So
Yeah. That's a good day, man. It's a good day.
yeah, no, it was a great day, but it was exhausting. And then today didn't stop. We started right up and everybody's like, well, we didn't finish it, so let's see if we can finish this real quick before everything gets started. So Sarkis, talk to
Yeah.
me about StreamKits. I'm actually going to share the website page. Now, I want to preface before you get going, because you have a really interesting background, but I want to really preface. I think that this product that you have has an opportunity to do and serve government industries really well.
Yeah.
Now, the connection between safety and camera equipment is difficult to make until you see how easy it is. And my perspective has always been, if you are in law enforcement or an EMT or in a fire agency, you have to educate the public on your job and your duties often in a way that captures their attention and keeps them engaged. Otherwise, if something happens and you come on and you're like, well, this is our job, now it looks ridiculous that you're just trying to, cover your backside versus actually just this is what it is. And I think your product does a really good job of setting them up for success to do that. So I'm going to share the screen as you talk about
Absolutely.
Stream
Yeah.
Kits and your background.
Being universal is kind of the main thing. You are correct. So affordability, ease of use, and then the quality of delivery, because we all have phones in our pockets, right? If you do want to grab content, it's kind of the go-to. But we spoke about this before, audio being critical, right? You want to have that quality, crisp type of audio. You want to have proper headphones for feedback and listening to what you just produced, making sure that it's as accurate as possible. these are, I guess, small details that'll deliver big in the end. And the idea of Stream Kits is you bundle and get all of this stuff based on how many cameras and audio, microphone, and headphones you want. Therefore, you can just say, I want 3 cameras. I want to have but 1 audio. So it's just going to have my own audio and setup, but I want to have 3 cameras on me for my stream. So that's a Trio dash IA, individual audio, for example. And that'll just give you everything you need: the boom, the mic, the headphones. And of course, having it easy to set up, a 3 camera setup for that type of price as well, because you're kind of starting to creep into the $15,000 to $20,000 realm when you start doing the multi-camera, multi-mic, or even single mic. So the idea was to make it easy, make it affordable, where everything is in the package. And when you receive the box, you can start streaming and creating your content.
So how much did you say a multi-camera system with like 15 to 20,000?
Yeah, if you're gonna say, we're gonna base it on like a DSLR setup. So if you're gonna do like a Sony Alpha, and you're gonna have 2 lenses, I guess that's gonna run about $2,000, right? Or 2,500 if you're gonna buy it. So 3 of those, just the cameras. Yeah, and don't skip the details of hook that up with a cable to something. So go get your cable. That's a cost. Connecting it to a mixer, it's a lot. That's just the video we talked about.
And you can buy all your nonsense cables and stuff on Amazon. Ask my wife, because I have to buy a new cable about every 2 weeks. Just because we're to stream everything in, because if it gets pinched or it doesn't like it, or it gets loose, you have to buy all of this extra stuff that you didn't realize that you needed to make it secure to the camera. So now, just on the camera side, you've got the tripods, you've got cables, you've got the camera, and then you want that cinematic look. So you need to have the right lens, and you have to have all of this stuff. And unless you're going to school, or you went to school, or you have 70 hours in a week where you can devote 40 hours of your work of the week to your job, and then 30 hours a week to learning something new, you're really far behind. And I think what you've done is you've set it up for the person that's, I don't want to say that they're dumb, but they're just not
have the time, man. Yeah, it's engineered to deliver the quality. That's, I think, what everybody wants. It's easy. There's no crazy menu setup system to go through. The cable topic you brought up, that's why we use a broadcast cable, where it's an SDI type connection, a different type of cable. But you can wiggle that thing. You can step on it. You can crimp it.
That's awesome.
It's going to keep working. So that's an important factor.
It is. And going back to your website, Stream Kits with the Z, it's STREAMKITZ.com. You are in pre-launch for the solo kits. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah. And that's basically to put it out there, see what the feedback is, see what people think of it. And you have an opportunity, I guess, to get in line and get some pretty crazy discounts.
For sure. Like, I'm looking at so I've been spending a lot of time looking at your website. When we talked, and I was like, oh, you should come on this, because I think that the law enforcement industry could really benefit from this.
Yeah. And I'll tie that into.
Yeah. I was a PIO for a little bit, or I would get asked to do like promo spots for different things that we were doing. And the silliness of having iPhones with cables and all of this stuff, it just looked messy and unprofessional. But then I'm looking at this in this solo kit. Like, the thing that makes me most excited about this is this backpack thing.
Yeah. The IRL.
The IRL. It's just got a backpack. It's got stabilizers so that you can wear the camera on your shoulder like a body cam, but it's production level quality, that you can actually get your message out in a way that's unique and dynamic to the community. So what was the process behind that? Because I can see you in these pictures, and it looks like you're doing something pretty sweet.
That was working with, that's actually, I'm up north in the middle of nowhere. So sometimes I'll sneak away and just grab like a week of silence. and it being Crownland in Ontario, Canada, 85% of the mass of the land is not uninhabited, and you are free to go and roam around and hang out for up to say a month. But working with some of the local streamers as well, got turned on to IRL kits, which is in real life where people want to take their live stream out into a public place. It could be nature, it could be a club, it could be a show, it could be concerts, but it's giving you that opportunity where instead of just using your phone, you're going out with a little bit more production value. But from an individual perspective, right? Like this is just not budgeting huge, but you want to have your own channel. You want to produce some content that's going to deliver. So we put together this kind of little pack because we did see that there's some on the market using cameras that are end of life, Sony, small little Sony cameras. And, we just basically use the exact same system, and our encoder will plug into a phone. So you can use your phone as a viewfinder, for example, when you're doing your setup. You can use it to capture 1080p 60 directly on your phone, or you can kick it into, like a Twitch or a Kick, and you could stream live or YouTube right from your phone over a, LTE or whatever type of connection you can stabilize. So
and with the
there you
wireless,
go. So you can kind of see
and with the
wireless
microphones,
mics
you
in
can
this
do
kit.
whatever you want on the street. That's incredible. So I think this is something like this has a lot of use and value. Now you're gonna always hear the people that are like, "Well, I've got my iPhone and it's got a bajillion megapixel camera and it does all of this stuff." Yeah, but there's a difference when people actually have quality audio that matches quality video versus people that have one or the other.
Exactly.
I don't want to watch somebody that's fuzzy, and I don't want to listen to somebody that sounds like they're in a bucket. So
yeah. And if you want to go, I guess the added dorkiness of it is that's the solo IRL you're seeing. I went to PAX East, I think it was, or TwitchCon. I can't remember which one. But I went with a 3-camera body armor type of setup. And so I captured 3 cameras on my phone. So for sure, you can pull out your phone and you can do that kind of stuff. But if you do want to do something kind of unique, I went dressed as Ghost Recon from a video game and just went with, body armor and basically having all the cams right on myself with facing forward, facing back. And because you have the options for the lenses, I have a fisheye on the back, so I could do a wide, super wide 180 coverage. I got zoom in the front. I had one on my face where you have that first person view. So lots of different options based on how you want to set it up.
That is very cool. I like, I don't know if we've, because we talked a little bit before we got on today, and I used to be a hostage negotiator. And one of the biggest issues is trying to see what's happening on the scene, because you're not always on scene. Sometimes you're back in a, environmentally controlled facility or just on the phone. Very rarely are you face to face or even on the other side of a wall.
Right.
I'm just thinking about like the value of something like this to run cable and sit there and watch it and having it clean and you can hear things. And it's just, there's so many practical applications I think that first responders could use this for, especially if you're doing like walkarounds. So now you're post-crime scene, there's the major incident, and you are recording as you go and you're collecting. So that's what body cams do. But body cams are kind of limited, but in a 3-tier system that you're talking about, and you have a 360-degree almost viewpoint in addition, that is such a huge benefit to go and recreate that scene, especially when it comes time to prosecute that case. So that's a very unique situation. So can you walk me through this? And then I want to talk about you for a minute. So you have, I'm going to pop the screen back up so that people can see it. So just with the Solo, you have Solo single camera system plus audio. So for this $1,500, I get like a full kit.
full kit, and that's going to be the camera body. There'll be 2 lenses. You get the headphones, the mic, you get the boom stand for the mic. You also get a clamp and arm for the camera. So that takes care of that. Then you have the encoder section that's going to do your capture and convert that into USB and ingest into your PC. So that with cables and power supplies, you're ready to go out of the box.
Okay. And next to it, we have the Solo IA, which is just audio only.
Yeah.
So
Some people wanted to have the option if they have a camera they like and they just want to grab the audio portion of it. Yeah, did that.
And then you have the other side of that, which is just the camera only with the Solo X, which looks like it has the encoder, the cables, and everything, but it's no audio. It's just the camera. And then you have the IRL. Now, is this available in each one of the packages, the Duo, the Trio, and the Quattro?
Yep. It's basically simulated where instead of having, for the IA section, you would have multi-camera with a single audio. So you can max it out where you just have a single audio setup and maximum 4 cameras, say, for your stream. If you don't want any of the audio, same options. What we don't offer yet is on the single 4 camera setup, have IRL with the backpack side. So that's currently just offered on the Solo, and more or less because a lot of the applications we saw is just, people have a selfie stick. We have quick releases on the product, so you can go from a shoulder to a wand to a stationary, just make it flexible.
So this is the Quattro. This is the granddaddy of them all. This is the biggest thing you've got. 4 cameras. I didn't even look and see what all that was. So it's 4 cameras. There we go. Encoder, controller, cables, 4 microphones, audio interface, 4 headphones, and then extra cables. So again, going back to a multicam DSLR production piece, whatever it is that you're doing, for quality cameras, you're looking at about just $2,000 for the cameras, and that's not all the extra stuff that we already are laid out. This particular thing is $57. It's a third of the cost for a 4 camera setup than what you would get if you were to go.
Yeah, $2,000 per camera. So with 4 cameras, you're looking at the $8,000 mark just for cameras, no encoder. And for, I don't know, audio, what's a typical audio setup? Maybe $400 to $500 for a mic and a stand?
If it's quality, yeah. I mean, you can get a couple different options that are not as, I think, pricey, but then you run the risk of it. It doesn't necessarily integrate. You run it separate, and then you marry it in post. But then you also don't look at, like, this comes with a mixer, and then the interface. What people don't realize is that if I have multi cameras, a lot of times I have to have a switchboard too, so that I can switch between my cameras or a system. Yeah. Otherwise, my computer won't recognize individual cameras, and it just becomes like cumbersome and a delay and problematic. So you are like taking the guesswork out of it, and with this granddaddy system at a third of the cost of what it would do just to do a 2 camera system, probably more than likely. So that's. Now, where does somebody get this kind of training and experience to build this, or even think about this? Like, what was your motivation behind it?
Yeah, this was essentially just to try to simplify what was going on from feedback. Being in the industry for about 20 years, I've been using all the products in there, designing them. I have a few, kind of the thing I've been breathing for a while. Popped out of that and going into the streaming realm, where noticing that there was a gap in between, say, a webcam and then going into something semi-professional. So, that was a wide opening that most people were saying, let me get into like a Blackmagic type camera. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's $10,000. One step below that is the DSLR. You're still at $2,500, but it's a repurposed camera. If you run them too long, they overheat. There's tons of issues with DSLRs as well, being in a multi-camera type setup. So it was more or less trying to simplify it. if you notice on that Quattro system, all of those connections, like the 4 cameras, the mics, the headphones, that all connects over a single USB to your PC. So if you're hooking up to a software that only allows 2 cameras, say maximum, you kind of bypass that. It only sees 1 camera. So therefore you can have a multi-camera system and a stream on a platform that doesn't typically handle it well. Going back to the security side too, like these cameras can be placed up to about 150 feet away from the base. So having that type of distance and running each one on a battery, which is available, that's easily 10 to 12 hours it'll run on a battery. So yeah, you have a lot of different options for getting this out. But the idea was from streamers, from content creators, from a lot of people basically saying, it's too complicated. I don't know what to buy. The amount of times I've heard people say I've been researching for 2 months and I'm still unclear, or it costs way too much. So it was the idea of just like, let's simplify this, but I'm going to use broadcast based in technology and apply it to this.
That's awesome. And just to, I don't want to belabor the point too much, but this is, I love this image that you put on your website, the current desktop solutions. And, you look at the webcam and the headphones and then and look, I'm guilty. I've got one. It's not even plugged in, but I've got one.
Yeah.
Right. And then the interface for $390, and I probably even spent less than that because I didn't want to break the bank, but I don't have an interface. I just kind of hope it sounds good. I initially hoped it sounded good. And then you have the Novus and you have arms and stuff. And then my wife is like, there is so much stuff now everywhere. And you got these things. And then, so we definitely try to keep it clean and crisp and looking good. So I thought this was really funny and really dynamic just to show like and this is a Blackmagic setup that he was talking about that shows you everything that you need, and you're spending, 15 grand. So you can either have a multi-camera system or you can have a car.
Yeah, like I'm not saying it's not going to look good. We've all gone through those steps too. You can build a streaming setup for $100 if you want. It's all good. It's available.
Yeah.
It's getting to a point where you're just like, all right, I kind of want to commit to this. I'll tell you, my biggest use case is working from home. If you do want to have like professional business calls, it's nice to look half decent and not be super grainy.
Yeah, for sure. It matters, especially when I do a lot of interview stuff for work, and then I turn the camera on, like, man, I look like death, and it's not me; it's just the setup and the camera just looks gross, and so this is it's great. So it has multi purposes and multi functions. Now, what you were in broadcasting for 20 years or more, is that
right?
Where were you working doing these things?
Yeah, I was first company I kind of got my feet wet with was a company called Evertz, which is, I guess, known as one of the leaders. I worked on the fiber optic product lines there. And more or less, it was like the Verge when remember when the big tubes, we're going to age myself now, when the 4x3s were starting to go out analog and HD was just coming in, is when I got into this market. And one of the biggest issues during that time was bandwidth. You have all these cables and existing infrastructure, but now your video quality just like shot up to 4 times the data rate. So one of the ways to get around it was fiber optic, especially for long distance. So I did about fiber optic broadcast and media for 10 years, and then went into something a bit more special where produced our own products, my second company, Embryonics, where we put a computer inside basically a small little module, turning any network switch into a video switcher that would take in like compressed video. And all of these little modules actually had small little PCs inside of them. So, that was another idea that kind of propelled me more into the media, more on the IT side, though. You see this thing growing and growing. And at the same time on the side, you see streamers and YouTube and TikTok and Twitch, and it's like, okay, there's a whole other generation here of people who are coming in, and they are they're chilled out. If something fails, they're like, I'll just reboot it, versus the other side of broadcast, which was 24/7. I can't be down for even a second because I'm going to lose ad time and revenue. So, I'm trying to find a nice little mix in between where it would be products for streamers and at this market, but still deliver quality and reliability.
That's awesome. What pause for a second and think about this. What are some of the more interesting jobs that you've done in broadcasting?
On the security side, actually, I did some big projects at the NRO. So I did the NRO headquarters layouts, did a lot of blue and red privacy rooms where you would have people come in, hit a button that would trigger a whole bunch of stuff for fiber and security inside a room for camera feeds. And even with like local police, I guess this was now 15 years ago. But there was an issue with downtown Toronto, which I'm not too far with, where police were having a hard time monitoring and making sure that people were safe. So there was the security cams that were deployed, and that was typically poor, similar to a webcam, super grainy, and it's nighttime. So we had the idea, working with the local police, we would deploy broadcast equipment, hang them off of the actual poles, and high quality broadcast cameras with fiber backfeed all the way back to headquarters. And then this was distributed to multiple police stations. So having that type of deployment was pretty cool, where you saw crime shoot right down. We deployed 15 to 25 cameras inside a certain area that was just really high. But uncompressed quality and broadcast type of quality versus the typical surveillance side, it was way easier to identify. Holds up in court because it's uncompressed video. Hasn't been manipulated. And the results were pretty cool. You made an area safe where it was clubs. It was just kids going out and having a good time at night. But, I guess it starts to get out of hand with violence, and this really tamped it down.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, would people be able to use companies, organizations, government entities be able to use stream kits and marry a couple of Quattros together to create high-end security cameras for their place of work or their business?
100%. Yeah, 100%. Having that capability, a lot of the technology available in the stream kit side wasn't available back then. As far as the compression side, but even the when this gets encoded onto USB, StreamKits is still using a broadcast algorithm, which is much higher quality than what you're going to find in the compression of a webcam, or you're going to find in a lot of the other stuff. So keeping it quality, yeah, and seeing those details, it's super, super interesting. Like if you're seeing this one, I could switch to a $2,500 camera here. So this is now, running a Sony, and then coming back to this, I personally see a lot of the details on my face that you don't pick up with a lot of cameras. It could be good, but at the same time, in a security situation, I think it's super important.
Yeah, certainly. Hold on, just
yeah.
That's I think that's a great opportunity to utilize that too. So just for our listeners and anybody in our sphere, you have options out there. You don't have to go with the big name industries. You don't have to invest millions of dollars into widgets to do this and that and the other. You can literally save money and have that same quality, if not better. And not to, and I don't mean this in any bad way, but this is like a mom and pop shop, right? You're brand new with stream kits. Like it's just now coming. I've been watching like the lead up on social media, and I was excited when I saw it because of the application that it has. And so I think that you get to support a small business and watch it grow into a huge business. And you're going to have better customer service, better quality on the back end. And like you and I have been connecting back and forth, and I feel at this point we talk about once a day in preparation for where we are now.
Yeah.
I would highly, highly encourage you to go to streamkits.com. And if anything, walk through the website and just take a look and see what's on there. But don't forget the option to claim early access for the pre-launch of the solo series, because it's everything that the individual needs. If you want to be a podcaster and do this because you do it better than me, go this route. It's going to save you money, and then you can focus on your craft. If you want to go out into the woods and do cool stuff, or put it in your car or do cool stuff, whatever that is, this is the way to do it, and to make it look good and not, shaky. We've all seen the body cam that jiggles around and nobody can really see what's happening. This, with the stabilizers and the IRL and just keeping things like secure, makes it look good, crisp, and your quality is going to go straight through the roof, and you're going to catch something you might have missed. And that's at streamkits.com. Sarkis, is there anything else that you would like to add today?
No, man, that was great. I really took on the point too of like having this in your type of market, and having, a way to connect, say, police enforcement and law and government to the people that they want to connect with, and having this option. I think, we're open to go on an individual basis and happy to work with businesses too.
That's great. And so hopefully we can help. At least this will help get people's aware of Stream Kits. And I hope that agencies look at this and be like, oh, I can save a lot of money and do a lot of good things with this. So I am hopeful for you, man. And like I said,
Thank you, bro.
Let me back up. If you want to be safe and stay safe, you got to go to Get Safe. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time.